It's been a brutal week for XRP, down 14% in just 7 days. Now, as an XRP holder, I kind of feel that gut punch. So why do I suddenly feel more excited than ever for what is coming next? Well, I just found a clue that even most XRP diehards have missed, and it, well, to be brutally honest with you, changes everything. Let me explain, right? I'm not just some observer here, right? I've been holding XRP since early 2020 through the insane ups and the downs. I've even got the battle scars and the meme stash just to prove it. Now, this past week, my group chats and our free educational Discord, by the way, link is in the description, have been lighting up with the frustration, right? So many groans, eye roll emojis, people saying that they're done with XRP's slow pace. And honestly, I was kind of right there with them until something grabbed my attention. I stumbled on a tweet from an analyst called 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗱, highlighting at least in their kind of crypto basic article, this guy did a 3-week chart analysis and described XRP's current setup as explosive, primed for a major breakout. Explosive. Now, in the middle of all of this bloodbath that we're in, you can bet that that got my attention. 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗀's chart, it showed XRP consolidating within a powerful bullish structure. Now in plain English, XRP's price, it has been stuck, moving sideways in this kind of really tight range for several weeks, almost like a spring being coiled up. And get this, right? It's been happening right above a long-term moving average line, a level that's historically been rock solid support. Now, in fact, XRP is currently hovering around that $2.50 mark, resting on that support zone. So he spotted this ABC corrective pattern, basically a 3-part pullback. It kind of looks like it's finally nearing its end. The translation is that XRP might be finishing its time out phase, gearing up for the next big leg upwards once this sideways snooze fest actually wraps up. And given how painful this 14% drop was, well, the idea of some green days on the horizon is, well, music to my ears. 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗀 actually said he expects green days soon. Now, here is where it gets spicy. 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗀 outlined some price targets using Fibonacci levels. You know, those magical ratios that targets geek out over, right? Well, according to his chart, about $1.94 is the base. And that was kind of XRP's 2021 peak. Now, the next big boss level was around $3.25, which he marked as a major resistance point. Now, if XRP can break above $3.25, and mind you, that's roughly, around that kind of old high that we hit earlier in the year, and even close to, I should say, that old record high from the last kind of major cycle, then of course we'd see bam, all the bets are off. A break above $3.25, it could actually catapult XRP towards roughly $6.28. And yes, you heard that right. Around $6 and some change. Now, that would be a new all-time high for XRP, finally eclipsing that legendary 2018 peak price. And 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗀 even hints that if momentum really gets crazy, XRP might not just stop there, right? His chart implies the run could potentially extend into the double digits eventually. Yes, double digits, as in potentially $10 or more someday. So when I saw that, my jaw was practically on the floor. It had dropped. He's basically saying, love it or hate it, XRP's chart is poised to explode upwards. It's pretty bold, right? Especially at a time when the sentiment is absolutely in the gutter and everyone is calling XRP a stablecoin. Not the good kind of stablecoin either, right? Anyway, my first reaction was a bit of a mix of, is this hopium and please let this be true? I mean, I've been jaded by countless XRP to the moon next week posts over the years. So if I had a drop of XRP for every time that someone promised me riches overnight, well, I would have, let's just say, a lot more XRP. So skepticism is kind of healthy here. But this analysis was different because it wasn't just blind optimism. It was actually quite specific. It had charts, it had patterns, it had logic. And guess what? Mickey Ball isn't the only one seeing something brewing, right? Other analysts are noticing similar patterns. Take Charting Guy, another well-known crypto chartist. Recently, he pointed out that XRP has been holding above a very strong support and that its structure still looks bullish, not bearish. Now, he's basically kind of shrugged off all of the naysayers who think XRP is done. Now, Charting Guy even gave his own upside targets. He's looking at around $8 and then $13 and even up to $26 in the next big pump. Yes, $26 XRP. I also did a double take at that too. Now that sounds kind of insane, but crazier things have happened in crypto, right? The fact that multiple independent analysts are throwing out some pretty big numbers, it tells me that this isn't just one dude's fantasy. And then there's Alex Cobb, a crypto commentator who jumped on these bullish vibes. Now, he speculated that if XRP were to go absolutely wild, something like 1,400% gains wild, and hit something around $38, it could actually challenge Bitcoin's #1 spot in market cap. Now, for context, $38 XRP would indeed be roughly a 14x from its current levels. Now, Cobb himself admitted that that scenario is speculative, basically a what-if thought experiment. And I'll be real with you guys, as much as I'd love to see XRP dethrone BTC, just to kind of watch crypto Twitter completely implode, that's a very long shot, right? Still, just hearing someone talk about that as a possibility when a week ago everyone was kind of doom posting about XRP, it's kind of like a mood whiplash. So at this point, you might be thinking, all right, all of this sounds like a whole ton of hopium. Are we really doing all of this again? Trust me here, I asked the same thing. So let me kind of just put this out there for clarity, right? Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, so we got that out of the way, we had to do it, you know that. Now, am I saying XRP is going to hit $6 or $10 or even beyond? No, because nobody can say that for sure, right? But seeing these analysts kind of and how they have flipped my perspective just a bit on this current and most recent dip. Instead of viewing it as a kind of just a loss, I'm actually starting to see it as a bit of a potential setup. It's kind of like the calm before the storm. Things feel bleak and then suddenly, boom, everything changes. It actually kind of reminds me of a classic Warren Buffett line, right? Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. And right now, there's a whole lot of people that are fearful or just plain exhausted with XRP. And here I am, right, after reading all of this research, feeling kind of excited, right, maybe even a little bit greedy in that kind of contrarian sense, right? Cautiously greedy, let's just say. Now, I cast my mind back to the earlier days, right? When I first bought XRP, it was around 11 cents, right? People kind of laughed and said it would never amount to anything, right? Then 2021 came around and XRP shot up to around $1.94 at its peak. Now, it didn't stay there for very long, but wow, what a ride that was. Now, of course, nothing goes up in a straight line, and it retraced, right? We had corrections, and then the infamous SEC lawsuit, right, in kind of late 2020 hit as well, when there was an opportunity to buy at 17 cents, right? So I've bought XRP at some really cheap prices, 11 cents, 17 cents, and in 2022, I even magically managed to hit 30 cents on a limit order that I had set on Binance. But man, if we just think back to the SEC lawsuit, if you were around in late 2020, then you would remember that day, right? The US SEC, it came after Ripple, and overnight XRP's price had collapsed, right? It went from roughly like 50, 60 cents to lower than 20 cents in just a blink of an eye. Major exchanges, they all freaked out and started delisting XRP to avoid any trouble. It was absolute chaos, right? One of the scariest moments to be an XRP holder. But you know what? I did not sell. I actually held through it and doubled down buying more, believing that we would come out the other side even better. And you know what? We did. Eventually, you can fast forward to 2023. A judge finally gave a ruling that basically said XRP itself is not a security on the secondary market, something that I've been talking about since the lawsuit was actually dropped because it didn't make sense under the Howey test. It was inevitable, in my opinion, that XRP cannot be classified as a security through those secondary sales. Right? It can be wrapped up differently and put into contracts, but that wasn't what was going on. And of course, suddenly, we had all that clarity. And by August of 2025, Ripple and the SEC even dropped their remaining appeals and ended the case for good. So just like that, the big legal cloud hanging over XRP was completely lifted. The turnaround was swift, pun intended. Right? Exchanges that had given XRP the cold shoulder actually started relisting it after the 2023 decision. I remember that day that Coinbase relisted XRP, my phone was buzzing non-stop with notifications, and the price had jumped to at least as kind of fresh buyers piled on in. It was like a huge weight off of the community's shoulders. It kind of taught me something rather important here, that in crypto, sentiment can flip very fast. One week you're the outcast, and the next week you've got the golden ticket or the golden child, right? All because of a news event or a breakout. And that's kind of where I think we might be right now. XRP has been chilling under that $3 ceiling for what feels like forever. Right? The broader crypto market has been pretty bearish lately too, and XRP has been no exception in its struggles. But now we've got these kind of credible voices saying, hey, this might be the moment that we've been waiting for. Now, it's hard not to feel a little spark of optimism. Now, I do want to address something practical too here, the importance of having a plan and having some backups. Right, during that whole exchange delisting fiasco in 2021, I learned a very valuable lesson. You never know when one exchange might freeze withdrawals or go down at the worst possible time. And that is why I keep accounts on multiple different exchanges. It is my plan A, B, C strategy. And if exchange A has an issue, then I can quickly move over to exchange B. For example, I'm on Binance, Coinbase, Blowfin, BitGet, LBAC, Kraken, you name it, right? And the affiliate links are actually all on my website. And there's a whole list of exchanges that I use. So I'm never stuck without an option. Now, in fact, I've pulled together all of the exchanges that I do personally use, and I've put a link in the description below to my website, where all of those affiliate links live. Now, I actually went and KYC'd and tested each and every one of them. It sounds a bit tedious, but trust me here, when things hit the fan, you're going to be glad that you have alternatives. It's kind of like having spare keys to your crypto house. Better to have them and not need them than it is to need them and not have them. So, where am I at now, emotionally and strategy-wise? Well, honestly, I'm feeling better than I was a week ago. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Seeing a big chunk of value evaporates, it kind of still hurts a bit. But now I have a bit of a narrative, a thesis, and that this pain actually might just be a prelude to a much bigger gain down the line. Now, I'm holding on to my XRP and I'm holding it tight, right? I'm even considering picking up a little bit more during these dips, with money that I can afford to risk, of course. Because if the charts are right, this could be a generational opportunity. And if they're wrong, well, it's just another lesson in patience, something that us XRP holders have plenty of. Ultimately, I'm not here to tell anyone what to do. Remember, right? I'm not a financial advisor, can't give financial advice and all of that. I'm just sharing my journey and what I am seeing going on. And in crypto, we've kind of got to combine data with kind of gut feelings. Now, my gut is telling me that something is brewing with XRP, and the data that I stumbled on backs that up, at least for now. No matter what happens next though, I'm going to keep you guys updated. If XRP starts exploding upwards, you bet that I'm going to be here talking about it, probably screaming like an excited child at Christmas. And if it flatlines or even drops more, then I'm going to be here for that too. Maybe with a stronger drink in hand, not just water, but maybe it will just be water. Let's be real, right? The key is this: I'm not going anywhere. I've ridden this roller coaster for many years through the lawsuits, the delistings, the hype cycles, and the crashes. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that the moment that you think you've got crypto all figured out, it's going to throw you a curveball. This recent analysis by 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰cie and others might be one of those curveballs, a positive one that's just lurking in all of the negative, at least negativity, I should say, in disguise. So to all of my XRP holders out there, I see you all, right? I feel your frustration, but I also feel that hope, that what if? Maybe the next chapter is finally just about to unfold. Maybe not immediately, not exactly when we want it to, because, the crypto gods do love making us all wait. But things are lining up in a way that I haven't seen in a very long time. Whatever happens, I'm going to be right here, navigating it all with you guys. And if you're new or just following along with, at least out of curiosity, welcome to this crazy ride. Keep your seatbelts on, because if the predictions are even halfway true, well, we're going to be on to something special. For now, though, you can smash that like button, hit subscribe if you've enjoyed this little personal adventure through the ups and the downs of XRP, and join me next time. Until then, though, guys, stay safe, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.